This is quite an honor. I don't know what I did to deserve it. If you were expecting theatricals, I was going to make you dance, but that already happened. George and Marilyn already made us cry. I don't know what that leaves me. But as the 11th speaker on the roster this morning, at Quest University, we're proud to have the best ratio of graduate speakers to graduates of any university in the country. When you bat this low in the order, nobody's expecting a home run, So my name is James McKinnon, and I am very honored to be addressing the graduates today because I feel a special connection with this group of people. Like many of them, I arrived at Quest in the fall of 2018. Like all of you, I had to think very carefully about that decision. No one ends up at Quest by default. It's not the school that's closest to where we live. It's not the school our parents went to, yet. It's not the top party school with the best football team. It's not in the middle of the vibrant cosmopolitan city that we grow up dreaming of or watching on TV. It's not the easy choice. And whatever else we've learned over the last few years, I think we've learned that Quest doesn't make anything easy. And that's why I respect you all so much, because you didn't come here for easy. Nobody chose Quest because they wanted something easy. You didn't go to a university where students just want to get a degree as quickly as possible, and the faculty just want to be left alone with their research, and both parties have a mutual unspoken agreement not to interfere in each other's lives. Like my colleagues and I, you put a lot of thought into choosing to come here, and you made sacrifices to do it. You left your families and your social networks behind. We get it. So did we. Maybe you traded the vibrant cultural amenities of your home for, a pretty nice view. We get it. A lot of you probably could have paid a lot less to study somewhere else. Suffice to say, we get it. Unlike you, when I chose Quest, I already had 20 years of experience teaching and learning at universities on 3 different continents. So I knew what I was getting out of. But none of us really knew what we were getting into, did we? And while I'm not sure any of us knew what to expect, I think it's safe to say that none of us expected what we got. We all came here to learn, but I expect none of us came here to learn so much about the difference between an aerosol and a droplet, or the relative merits of mRNA and live virus vaccines, or the company's creditor arrangement act. Or Microsoft Teams. It took courage to come to Quest in 2018, but it took even more to stay until 2022. It took more than courage, it took tenacity, persistence, resilience, maybe a little Ativan. So if I admired your courage and integrity before we even met, I am awed by your response to the remarkable hardships that have threatened your studies, not to mention your physical and mental health. And when I say awed, I mean as in awesome, not as in aw. Well, maybe a little aw now and then. You have endured, adapted to, and ultimately overcome extraordinary adversity. Crises you had no part in creating, and which nobody could help you cope with, because none of us has any experience coping with these crises, except maybe Nagar, our resident epidemiologist. You made sacrifices to ensure that you would study in an environment conducive to learning, and instead you found yourselves on a 9-month-long Zoom call. But you persisted. You chose a program designed to let you focus on one thing at a time, and were instead forced to split your attention between learning and dealing with the fallout of an unprecedented global crisis. And still you persisted, and you succeeded. You're still here. And soon you will leave, and you will leave victorious. You have learned that you can cope with uncertainty. You can overcome adversity. You have learned that when you say something, people will listen. If these sound like modest achievements, I assure you they are not. Many people leave university without ever coming close to them, myself included. I was completely unprepared for life after university because most of what I learned at university was how to succeed at university, which mostly involved figuring out what professors wanted to hear me say, which was easy because usually it was what they said in the lecture. It never occurred to me as an undergraduate that anyone else might care what I had to say about anything. I wrote an honors thesis for an audience of 1. I have only 9 functional fingers, but I can still count on both hands the number of times I spoke out loud in a university classroom as an undergraduate. If you had told me I would be invited to stand up in front of the whole university and talk about my research for 15 minutes, I would have given that a hard pass. But you guys, I got this. Or rather, we got this. Because when your fellow graduate AJ describes Quest as the world's most elaborate escape room, he's right in a lot of ways. And one of them is that at Quest, you don't do it all on your own. You work together as a team. That's the only way to get out of an escape room. You learn how to do things together. That's very important. So yeah, you got this. You've proven it. We've witnessed it. You all stood up in front of the whole university this week. You all offered us ideas about who we are and how we can live better, how we can make the world better, how we can help people become more creative or less aggressive, why birds dance, what is the sound of Squamish. The students have become the teachers, which is exactly how it should be, but not how it always is. Often the student merely becomes a professional student. I was studying in my 4th degree before I learned how to do something other than become a really successful student. I don't want that for you. Nobody wants that for you. I hope. You might not feel it yet, especially if this is the only university you've ever known and your peers at Quest are your baseline for what is normal. But I think you're going to start to notice the difference pretty soon. Your work is not done, of course. It's just beginning. You will now go out into the world and you will be obliged to use what you have learned here. And I hope you will use it to improve the lives of others, especially those who haven't had the opportunities that we've had. And based on what I've seen, I'm confident that you will. Although, Jacob, some of your peers have discovered an anomaly in your keystone that I might need to talk to you about. Our work is not done here either. We are still here for you. We look forward to hearing from you. Keep in touch. Keep asking us for help. Everything that I've said about you guys today and your integrity and your courage, I will say to anyone who asks me about you. To leave where I began, I'm not crying, you're crying. Give yourselves a pat on the back. Seriously. Give each other a pat on the back. You showed courage, integrity, generosity, and resilience to get where you are today. And perhaps more than anything you learned in a classroom at Quest, these qualities will get you where you want to go tomorrow. Colleagues, president, chancellor, family, friends, underclass people who I'm glad to see here today. That doesn't happen at a normal university, and it means that I'm not going to be able to recycle this speech next year. Please join me in congratulating our graduates.